I just woke up from my nice coma. I feel totally relaxed and mellow. I talked to my sister last night, and I didn't feel that way. And I saw my aunts and everything. And I want to document my experience of what actually happens in the Looney Tune bin for everybody. So if I appear crazy, that's okay with me. Because people that have never woken up to algebra equations being written across the wall, or he was a beautiful dark chocolate too. His name was Brutus, and my ox, my ox was brute force to me, and I felt safer than I ever felt in my life. And these were people, from Marshall Pickens. Essentially, they were told something's wrong with him, and they throw them there. My tiny dancer Adele had my birthday, December 9th, 1980, so we're only 5 years apart. She was a very bad heroin addict. Beautiful. Talk about a dancer when you play some music. These people are viewed as less than others because nobody understands the journey. And, other people think that magically you're just gonna go in the Looney Tune bin and you're gonna be healed of all your problems because, Big Pharma's gonna come and fix you. What I saw was a doctor that firmly had the belief that being Mad Hatter and just playing with meds was going to cure these people. What I saw was some of the people that had the hardest life experiences. And that's what I want people to understand. When I'm all hyper and stuff like that, guess what? I just came off of an antipsychotic drug that they were making me take that was causing facial paralysis. I didn't smile, I didn't have expressions. I could watch the funniest comedy and not even laugh at it. So yeah, I might just blend in with everybody, I'm not doing anything crazy, because people have told me it's scary when you're manic. I didn't go through these really bad stages of mania until one day I went to the fat clinic, the bariatric clinic. It's extremely easy to get an appointment. Within 30 minutes, I was prescribed Atipex, which, like I said, has very similar isotopes to crystal meth. I did not know these things. I've talked to numerous nurses, and they said that they have seen this several times with medicines like Atipex and stuff like that. Like, when people see it for what it is, you can judge or you can choose to be compassionate. All I need to do is wake people up to what it is. When I came down to Florida and saw a Chinese doctor, he wrote me more prescriptions but said, see me in a month, and it stabilized my mood, and he instantly took me off of this antipsychotic. And what people don't understand about antipsychotics is they are proven to cause brain damage, and if you damage your brain enough, your body will absorb that gray matter. Watch Stephen Molyneux's mental illness is not a disease. People didn't start having all these horrible drug addictions and all of that until the 1970s war on drugs. The war on drugs, what the agenda was to throw a bunch of people in jail. So now all the products that we get from Walmart, when you see that made in America and think that you're actually buying a product that is gonna, help your economy, it's typically an inmate making it for you, and 50% of the inmates are in jail for nonviolent crimes. We get this stigma about jail. This is what I have been drinking to really heal myself. It's purified water with electrolytes for taste. Like, this is what God intended us to do. The prophets nowadays would be labeled Looney Tunes and stuff like that. But people just automatically assume, like, oh, well, they're in prison, they're horrible people, and, like, they're the scum. It's easy to judge these people until you hear their life story about them being raped all throughout being a kid. The foster care system. The foster care system is a huge failure to our kids. 70% of the inmates were previously foster care children. And if people think that the government is helping our foster kids, you better think again. I've heard accounts of girls going, this one, she went to something like 17 different homes from the age of 8 to the age of 16. She was taken from her parents that had 11 children total. 6 of her brothers and sisters ended up with PhDs. She would get urinary tract infections, and they automatically slammed these young people with the father was molesting the child. Some children are born with short urethras. She told me, she was like, that never happened when I was a kid. But when her parents tried to stand up to DSS is filthy. And there's a lot of good DSS workers, but if you don't believe that, read the Nancy Schaefer report. I would rather look crazy than to see more of the kids that are going through these situations. Because talk about a childhood that was an absolute nightmare. Go walk around with inmates and just be with them. My way of just being with them was reading from my holy scriptures. I'm part of the Jehovah's Witness Church. I'm not part of the Jehovah cult church. And there's a lot of misconceptions. The Jehovah's Witness Bible is the slave Bible. Like, that's what a lot of people misconstrue too. You get New King James, and you get all these different versions. I'll read 3 different versions, and I can gather what it's talking about. And the Jehovah's Witness Bible broke it down for me the best because it's the slave Bible. Everybody's fighting over, it's the Vatican, and it's, Jerusalem, it's Israel, and follow the story. What did the Romans do back in the day? And now the Vatican is the richest place with all the artifacts. Creepy popes doing a lot of nasty touching too. You don't think that's real? There was 1,000 cases in Pennsylvania that got blown up about the cathedral church. We can't blame all Catholics and stuff, but talk about doing some evil in the world. And that's my only goal, is to help open people's eyes. Because I've never woken up to mathematicians writing amazing equations and breaking it down for me. And you know who that kid was? He's your typical hippie kid with dreads and everything. He had a childhood that would just make you cry your eyes out. He was a beautiful person. But they're telling these people, you gotta take all these antipsychotic drugs to blend in. They were giving Tiny Dancer enough lithium to make her look like she was 6 months pregnant, and they started diagnosing her while she was going through heroin withdrawals. Just seems like to me, you can't make a proper diagnosis of anybody while they're going through heroin withdrawals. Or like with me, could you really make a proper diagnosis? Well, I've been high on crystal meth and not even knowing it because I got it from the fat clinic. And then the solution is to prescribe an antipsychotic that like slows down your brain so much, because I'm a very smart person. I might sound crazy when I'm like that, but coming off of antipsychotics will also cause that. My only goal is to help others, and for people to stop thinking that magically you're gonna send them to detox or you're gonna send them here. It's a coping mechanism. When I drank too much after losing my job, it was a coping mechanism because a dirty judge definitely threw a grenade in my life, and she let a couple abusive men get away with unthinkable things. I wasn't even allowed to talk. It didn't matter that cops were never at my door before somebody wanted to leave the state because they just met a woman all of 2 months ago. It's not like it's not the 4th time he tried to do this to me. And all he had to do was pay off a guardian ad litem. She didn't even uphold her contract. I get thrown under the freaking bus. The corruption in family court has been so devastating. Men are committing suicide at such a high rate, having their children ripped away from them and having to pay out everything. And when that man can no longer work a certain job to provide a certain income, they don't care. They just say, well, this is what your earning potential is. Well, it's nice to have an earning potential that high. Like before a private investigator came into my life that was very high profile, that was in all the news stories, whose husband ended up dead, a very suspicious death, and there was somebody that hid the mother paycheck after her husband died, hangs out with an officer that's the only one that can say what happened that day. 17-year-old boy ended up dead too. Yeah, those officers were raping women over at the Platinum Plus, not forcefully, but under the understanding that if they didn't have sex with these dirty officers over at Platinum Plus, they would have DSS at their door and have their children ripped away. Go talk to strippers if you want to find out why Walt Wilkins viciously attacked all the women at Platinum Plus. Yeah, solicitor of Greenville, that was the attorney general for South Carolina. You got a lot of dirt on your hands. Took a gun out of evidence too, on a case that hadn't even gone to court yet, an active case. Yeah, he's too poor to buy a gun. You know, guy only makes $140,000 a year, and now I'm not even legally able to have a gun because a man that slapped my son when he was 18 months old, I hit him with a diaper bag when he tried to rip my son out of the car. So yeah, South Carolina, you're doing great of how many women end up dead. When I tried to speak the truth, I had 3 big officers declare martial law at my house, rip me out of the bed, throw me in the back of a Charger car, hoist me over to GHS Memorial, make sure I got a shot of Halidol. I'm allergic to Halidol. It really causes me to go psychotic, and it stays in your system for a long time. A judge that was fully aware of the situation was in my ER room. Have you ever seen a judge sitting in your ER room waiting for you? That's awfully fishy. I looked this man right in the eyes and said, what the fuck are you doing here? Why was I just ripped out of my bed and had declared martial law on me? Then legally I had to stay at Marshall Pickens and had to be forced to take antipsychotic drugs before they would release me, and then they make it to where legally they could come and abduct you at any point if they say you're not taking your meds. MUSC, where the slave headquarters are at in South Carolina, can teach you a lot. There's getting attention brought to these matters because this stuff does not happen in Florida. and it should not be going on in South Carolina. The man that made Marshall Pickens made it to go put his sick wife away when she would try to speak out about abuse. So these affluent men in South Carolina, you're not fooling anybody anymore. This doesn't go on in other states. We have a huge growth in Greenville, and we're going to start getting attention to the important matters. So if I end up dead ever, I would much rather the truth be revealed than never to have said anything at all. Also, a 17-year-old boy, self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Officer's not even breathing hard when he reports this. Go study forensics. Go look up Alan Jacobs' case in the autopsy. Go talk to shooters that know how guns work. They'll tell you 0% of how they're saying it went down. I talked to everybody in Nicholtown too. They wouldn't even get eyewitness accounts of what happened between a federally trained shooter that was a soldier that served in Iraq and Haiti and a 17-year-old boy that had the possibility of becoming a huge football star that just got involved with the wrong crowd. And wow, did they persecute poor Tay's mom and try to run her ass out of town too. Dirty cops. It shouldn't be happening.